Hello Wolfpack, back here on Bitcoin, fresh charts to look at today. But before we even get into the fresh charts, let's look at the daily chart, the average daily analysis. And why is that? Why are we looking at the daily chart? We're looking at the daily chart because yesterday, and we can even zoom in a little bit to the 4-hourly chart, yesterday we had, or just about 12 hours ago, we had a massive scam wick to the downside. Now you guys would know by this point that 28.6k is the critical region of support that we need to be holding on Bitcoin. So long as we are above 28.6k, we are still maintaining the overall macro structure in terms of not forming a lower low. And as soon as we get a daily candle close below 28.6k, we have to be looking for a lower level of support. So that's the way the market works, right? When you lose a support level, you're looking for another support level to gain support on, obviously, right? I think a lot of people would know that by now. But if we lose 28.6k, the next level of support, we have no historical price action, by the way, between like 20k and 28.6k. The next level of support is actually stemming from 24k, which was held for around a week back in 2020. However, it is clearly a support zone because when we had this capitulation wick down on the 12th of May, we actually bounced off that region. So below 28.6k, 24k is our next region of support. So again, if we drop below 28.6, 24k is the direction for Bitcoin. Now, on the other hand, you might be asking the question, well, why are we consolidating so intensely in this region? And the reason for that is because 28.6k is held not only on this occurrence, but also throughout 2021 and late 2020, and hence it is a major support zone. And the major resistance above us that is making us clamped in between these region, right? We're kind of like in between two hard places right now. We're here, 28.6k and 33k is right above us, and we're just bouncing between those two zones. And 30 to 33k is the major region to the upside, right? And we can see that from the POC, as seen by the volume profile. The red line is the POC, and we have seen that 33k is basically the thing that is compressing us. So we're bouncing in between 28.6 and 33, and we could do that for a little bit of an extended period of time. It really depends on how price action goes. But if we go ahead and zoom up and we actually flip over the chart, right? I like to do this because it's very easy to remove bias by flipping over a chart. And what we can actually do if we flipped over the chart, so remember, this is just the Bitcoin chart, but it's upside down, is we can draw some sort of ascending triangle formation, right? And then if we flip the chart back over, we can see Bitcoin right now is actually in a descending triangle formation on the daily chart, which is a bearish structure. And it means that Bitcoin is likely to break to the downside from here towards 24k. And that breakout will be coming before, probably before June 2nd, right? So honestly, probably within the month of May, if not the 1st of June, right? The point is, it's coming very, very shortly. Now, it doesn't have to break to the downside, obviously. It's not a certainty, but it is most likely that as per the fact we're seeing a descending triangle formation, we will be seeing a break to the downside. I know it's not a clean descending triangle formation, but it is a descending triangle formation nevertheless, or it is the closest thing to a descending triangle formation we can make out of the current structure, and hence that is a bearish structure, and hence, at this point, we'd have to assume that the most likely side for a break is downwards here on Bitcoin. That's interesting to see. But before we get into anything else, right, I do want to look quickly at Ethereum BTC. And I suppose this is getting into something else. I don't know why I said that. But this is a new chart that I wanted to look at as of recent. I want to tie it back in to the longer term time frame on Bitcoin as well in a second. But Ethereum BTC is a chart that measures the strength of Ethereum in relation to Bitcoin. So for those of you who don't know how Bitcoin pairs work, right? It's the same thing as a USD pair. If I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart, which is BTC USD, I'm comparing or I'm measuring Bitcoin in USD value. Now I'm measuring Ethereum in BTC values. This is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. Again, it measures the strength of Ethereum in relation to Bitcoin. When this thing goes up, due to the fact that Ethereum is the leader of the altcoins, it generally suggests that altcoins are going up against Bitcoin, right? And that's what the Bitcoin dominant chart is. But this is just another way of looking at it, right? So what we saw on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart is actually during the entire bull market, basically. We zoomed up to the upside here at the start of the bull market, and then we had this massive ascending channel formation. We talked about this a bit in the past. It's been months though, and we did say that's going to break to the downside, and we did say it's going to reject off resistance, and we were correct in saying that, and we have broken to the downside now. So now the Ethereum Bitcoin chart is broken to the downside. What does this mean? It means that Ethereum's strength against Bitcoin, and hence altcoins as a whole, right? Altcoin strength against Bitcoin is in a downwards trend, and not only a downwards trend, but a fresh downwards trend, right? Very early break to the downside here. Not only do we have an ascending channel formation, it's also kind of like a cup formation, and so we can expect to go a lot lower here, at least to this uptrending dashed line on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, which would decimate Ethereum and would decimate altcoins against Bitcoin. This is, in a way, one of the nails in the coffin, or one of the many nails in the coffin of the market here, because we only see this happen during bear markets. And we can actually see the structure is very similar to what we saw in 2018. Now, in 2018, Bitcoin and the entire market topped out in January. So did the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, right? During this entire dead cat bounce region, right, we initially went downwards, and then we saw a dead cat bounce between the months of April to May 2018. If we go to the Bitcoin chart, we can see that materialize, right? Between April and May 2018, we had a dead cat bounce. As we continued downwards and dropped below this uptrending level of support, the Ethereum Bitcoin chart essentially broke down and it tanked massively. Now, we've seen a very similar thing happen here. We saw the top on the entire market in November, which was the top on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. We saw an initial downwards trend. We saw a dead cat bounce region in around March to April, which lined up with when we saw a dead cat bounce on Bitcoin, right? In around March to April, we saw this massive dead cat bounce. When we broke down from this uptrending line, we saw this thing start to tank. And that's what happened, right? We're seeing this thing start to tank right now. And so what we can hence determine, sorry if that was a bit confusing, but what we can hence determine is that we, relative to where we were in 2018, are just at the start of this renewed downwards trend, which means we have a long way to go until the bottom is in on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, which means altcoins have a long way to go until they're stop getting decimated in comparison to Bitcoin, right? We are here. Right, we need to go down a lot further, at least to this line here, or even below to this line here, or even below the last bear market bottom. Because what we can notice now is that Ethereum in relation to Bitcoin was very strong in the previous bull market, right? We look at 2017, it got up much higher than it did in this cycle. It means that Ethereum is losing strength against Bitcoin. And this is interesting because a lot of people would say, and I get this over and over again, especially during the bull market, a lot of people would say, well, Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin one day. Ethereum's got a lot of things built on its ecosystem, a lot of different projects. It's one of the major networks for withdrawing and depositing. Ethereum's, NFTs, Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin. Well, the evidence isn't there. What we've actually seen is that Ethereum is getting weaker and weaker against Bitcoin over time. All you need to do is draw a downtrending line to determine that. So instead of Ethereum flipping Bitcoin, we're actually seeing Ethereum getting weaker against Bitcoin, which is less of a reason to think that Ethereum is going to flip Bitcoin and more of a reason to think that Bitcoin is the king of the market, which is being instilled to us by the Bitcoin dominance chart, which has recently broken out of a descending wedge formation and needs to go to the upside dramatically here during the bear market. Bitcoin is still very much the king of the cryptocurrency market, and people don't realize that until it's a bear market, because then they see it firsthand. Bitcoin is king, altcoins are merely for trading, in my personal opinion. And I think this chart really proves that. Now, before we get into the rest of the video, I do want to talk about a quick few things. First of all, we have BitGet. BitGet has the lowest fees in the cryptocurrency market, even lower than that of Binance. It also has a non-KYC options, which means you don't need to disclose your location or your identity to trade on the exchange. It's what I personally use for futures trading and some spot pairs, depending on what coins are on there. You can go ahead and join up to BitGet using my referral link in the description below. Moving forward, I also have the V.I.P membership for Wolves of Crypto. Click the join button at the bottom of this video, or go to my channel page and click the join button, and you can gain access to not only exclusive altcoin trading signals every second day, not only priority reply to comments, not only a 2-hour video on market psychology, but also a weekly newsletter, which I've recently added. So amazing value for money, only $40 a month. That's AU dollars, so that's 28 USD a month. Crazy value. You also get custom emojis and loyalty badges next to your name. One of the best value VIPs you're going to find out there. And then moving forward even further to the last thing here, we have the Crypto Academy Become a Trader course, which is a 10-unit course, which will teach you how to trade essentially everything from TA to FA, market patterns, indicators, candlestick formations, market psychology, everything you need to know about trading is in this course. If you want to take advantage of the bear market, this is the place to do it. My friend and fellow analyst Mega Crypto and myself have teamed up and made this together. You can chuck us an email here at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com and we'll send you all the relevant information that is not available on the website. Now we can get into the rest of the video. And what I want to talk about in the rest of the video is actually Bitcoin. And this isn't actually a new chart, by the way. I've been talking about this for a long time. In fact, the first time I talked about it, people told me I stole it off Benjamin Cohen, which is ironic because I actually actually talked about it way before Benjamin Cohen did. But what we have here on Bitcoin is a similarity to 2018. And we know we're in a similar place to where we were in 2018. That's not a surprise, right? It's not a surprise at all. In fact, we've been talking about this for months and months and months. But what we saw in 2018 was the 200-day SMA, this green line, and an uptrending level of support. Now, I just talked about the similarities to this chart and the Ethereum BTC chart, but let's talk about it plain in the price chart here. In 2018, after the bull market, we formed an uptrending level of support for which we bounced off of it a few times. We finally dropped below it. We came up, rejected off of it, Amber 200, consolidated a little bit, and then dropped to the downside, okay? Similar thing is happening right now, right? This tells us something about the future. I'm going to get into it in a second. We formed the bull market top. We came down, formed this uptrending level of support. We dropped down below it. And now, if we're going to follow the rest of that fractal, we should be seeing a bounce to the upside, a rejection off of it at around, 42, 43K, right? And then some consolidation, and then a final drop to the downside. And that would line up perfectly with our November bottom prediction. That is possible, right? I do want to talk about that. That is possible. It's possible that we see one more dead cat bounce on Bitcoin up to like that 40K region. And it's possible we don't see a final drop below 28.6K until later this year. And this chart really outlines that. So, I know I said at the start of the video, we've got a descending triangle formation. We do have a descending triangle formation. I can't change what I see in the charts. That's the objective reality. But there is still some reason to believe at this point that Bitcoin maybe isn't even close to bottoming out yet, and it might be seeing it in November, which would line up with the 4-year cycle theory. And I do want you guys to be aware of this. We can definitely see a bounce on Bitcoin. We don't have to drop right now. In fact, I've talked about it before. I'll talk about it again. We can go as high as 44K on Bitcoin. How do I come to that conclusion? Well, all we need to do really is bring up the 50-week SMA, and we'll delete this 4-year cycle chart and bring it back up in a second. But what we can see is that the trend for Bitcoin is every time we lose the 50-week, we end up at the 200, right? We've seen it on 3 separate occasions now. Lose the 50-week, end up at the 200. We've lost it again. All we need to do to invalidate this trend, right, is jump back above the 50-week without going to the 200 and the whole trend's invalidated. That means in order to be bullish on the market again, Bitcoin needs to go to 44K, meaning the highest Bitcoin can go and remain in a bear market is 44K, meaning that the chart we just looked at here, the BLX, tells us that it's entirely possible for Bitcoin to see this bounce up to this uptrending line, a rejection, and then further downside. That would not make us bullish on the market again, because that would still be the macro bear structure as per the 4-year cycle theory and as per the theory, the trend going on with the 50-week SMA and the 200-week SMA, right? Again, the 4-year cycle theory is predicting a bottom on Bitcoin in November at the 200-week SMA, maybe below it. It really depends. But that's interesting food for thought, right? It's food for thought in saying that, wait, hey, maybe Bitcoin isn't done here. Maybe Bitcoin needs to see one more big bounce off of 28.6K, up to that 42K region, and then we reject, and then we finally see the final downturn. I think that would make a lot of sense. I'm not going to make any predictions on whether it's going to happen or not. I don't really care. I'm just pointing out to you guys. So if we do start to see that bounce, it's not a reason to just jump in with your life savings again and say it's a bull market, because in reality, it will not be. We'll still be following that trend. Without further ado, I'll end the video there, guys. I'm talking really fast today. Don't really know why. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Thanks.